So, Benoit Saint Denis, the nightmare scenario that I imagined happening, he ended up getting rolled over by Renato Moicano in the first round. Now, he did better in the second round. A lot of people are thinking he could have turned it around or something like that. I feel like that was a very foregone conclusion of a fight, even if the doctor would have stepped in or not. Because if you look at Benoit's face and how bad it looked, it made a lot of sense as to why the doctor stepped in and showed his concern. So even as someone who was in Benoit's corner, I think it was a fair stoppage. But it was also an even bigger stoppage to the hype train, which is Benoit Saint Denis. Because Benoit, after KOing Matt Frivola like that and leaving such a mark, it seemed like the world was his oyster at the lightweight division. He was doing really well against Dustin Poirier, and you think it's just a tactical error. But no, I think he punched up in the rankings a little too soon. There's a lot of styles that he skipped over. Renato Moicano has been showing his best self ever since his past few fights. He's just been on a tear. Complete career resurgence on Renato's part, and I'm actually hoping to see more from Renato. So if Renato wants to make Paddy Pimblett a fight, I really think that would be a good one, and then we'll see where that goes because both those guys have insane jiu-jitsu. Renato has more of a get on top, ground and pound, and then look for the submission, where I think Paddy the Baddy is looking for that submission right off the bat. So it's going to be interesting to see how those submission styles clash. Now what's next for Benoit Saint Denis is obviously the hype train is pretty much on hold right now, and he's going to need to go back and season himself a little bit. So now, obviously, he and Jalen Turner actually seem like an interesting matchup in my opinion, and it's winnable. Now, Jalen obviously has the reach. Benoit, I know his striking isn't always the cleanest, I don't think that he has shown that he likes to drop his hands a little bit when he throws, and that could come back to bite him. So, we don't know how that's going to go. This is a dark chapter in the career of Benoit Saint Denis because there's ways that we could look at his career going, but ultimately, where is he going to go? That's the big question because you see all these styles that they have. He could be in a little bit of trouble. Maybe he could bounce back against Bobby Green a little bit. I know that Bobby Green is now that stepping stone in getting into that process. So we'll see. I think that he could go against Drew Dober or someone like that. But, man, this is the worst case scenario I imagine for Benoit happening at this point. And I say this as a guy who was really on top of the Benoit Saint Denis hype train when it was at an all-time hype here when he was fighting Dustin Poirier. Usually, sometimes you see him take 2 losses in a row. I knew that this was a possibility. I was hoping it wasn't, but that nightmare scenario just happened. So, there's a lot of things that he could go back and think, but I think number one, definitely heal up. Because once I see a fighter take damage like what he did from the first round, if you look at how bad the bruising was, I don't know where he comes back on this one. It's hard. It's like, what are you going to do with him now? Is he going to come back the same after that damage? Is that damage going to affect his style, down the line? Is his chin going to be more touchable than it already was? But a lot of people are going to say this is the end. I hope it's not the end. I hope we see him back. Hope we see more of him. But yeah, no, after he takes damage like that in a fight, it's just a what-if scenario if he gets back in there. But, Renato Moicano, the sky's the limit for this guy right now. He's definitely having this career resurgence, and I know that, if you look at that Jalen Turner fight, he almost got finished in that bounce back, but this one was a clean sweep of the house, and you could tell, Renato Moicano is only getting better. Benoit, I feel like he needs to take some time, But I think that I knew in the back of my mind that this was a very big possibility, and it was. But, congrats to Renato, and I look forward to seeing Renato Moicano and Paddy Pimblett make their matchup because those guys have been calling each other out, and definitely they can make that sometime by the end of this year or even sometime early next year if they want to. But that's what I got to say. Other than that, UFC Paris was a really great card. A lot of it was lightweight, very lightweight heavy, I guess you could say. a lot of lightweight bouts in there. It was also good seeing Matt Frivola go back in, even though he ultimately got knocked out too. But we might actually look at his career as well, because now there's a new French prospect in the lightweight division. So we'll see where this goes. The lightweight division is looking like, even in the non-ranked areas, it's got some players coming up, and we move forward from here. But when you think the worst case scenario is about to happen, that's usually when it ends up happening. So for the Benoit Saint Denis fans, this is a dark period. This is a dark chapter. But on to the next one. Life goes on. The fight game goes on. The show goes on. Later.